What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. I'm doing great. Thank you very much for choosing us again today. It was a great pleasure to exchange with you. It's good to have our people coming together and discussing. Please recommend our page. Please follow us. If this is your very first time, click on the button so we can see each other very much often. Okay? So we're going to all start by doing this, so we can push our video further. And I see you from all over the place, whether you're in South Africa, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda. I see you, Liberia. Thank you very much for tuning in. Somalia, Ethiopia, all of you guys. To the US, to the other side of the Pacific, to the United States of America, Jamaica, Caribbeans, all of you guys, Trinidad, Tobago, Haiti. I see you, fellas. Brazil, thank you so much. Okay, so today we're going to talk about something very interesting. President Joe Biden has shown his support to Israel. Okay, so they took a flight from the United States of America to Israel. And I think there's a great lesson to be learned. Let's watch, and I'm going to make a comment right after. Let's go.
The wake of Hamas's appalling terrorist assault, brutal, inhumane, almost beyond belief what they did. This cabinet came together. And standing strong, standing united, and I want you to know you're not alone.
I want you to know you're not alone. We're standing strong, we're standing united. First of all, I want you to see this very clearly, okay? Biden doesn't ask who is right, who is wrong. Biden has allegiance with Israel. They are friends, they are brothers. So whenever Israel is in trouble or Israel is in challenge, Biden offers, or the United States of America is always ready to back them down. They don't ask who is right, who is wrong, who started this time around. He comes straight from the USA to Israel to say, you're not alone. You are not alone. We stand strong. We stand together. Let's continue.
We're not alone. As I emphasized earlier, we will continue to have Israel back as you work to defend your people. We'll continue to work with you and partners across the region to prevent more tragedy and innocent civilians. 75 years ago, your founders declared that this nation would be one based on freedom, justice, and peace. Based on freedom, justice, and peace. The United States stands with you in defense of that freedom, in pursuit of that justice, and support of that peace. Today, tomorrow, and always. We promise you.
Today, tomorrow, and always. We promise you. He doesn't say today, tomorrow until you do something wrong, or today, tomorrow, provided you are always right or on the right side of history. He says today, tomorrow, and always. So there is no condition to the support. It's unconditional. Whether you are wrong or right, we're going to support you. Did you hear that? Today, tomorrow, and always. It doesn't matter whether you begin or anybody else start the war. Today, tomorrow, and always.
Wars in Israel and Ukraine more than the United States can take on at the same time.
We're the United States of America, for God's sake. The most powerful nation in the history, not in the world, in the history of the world. The history of the world. We can take care of both of these and still maintain our overall international defense.
Did you hear that, fellas? The journalist asked him, the United States of America is now supporting Israel after supporting Ukraine. Isn't that maybe a little too much for the United States? He said, we are the United States of America. For God's sakes, the most powerful country in the world. We can support both of them and still maintain our level. So what does that mean? I think there's a great lesson to learn here, okay? We're going to talk as we play this video of President Biden landing into Tel Aviv in support to Israel. He said, today, tomorrow, and always, we will support you. Look at the support that Israel is getting from the United States. This shows you very clearly how two people, how two nations can come together to support each other. Doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong. You will notice that every time there's a situation regarding Israel in the United Nations, in the United States of America, always support Israel. You will notice that every time there's something about the United States in the United Nations, Israel will always support the United States of America. Doesn't matter whether they're right or wrong. Now my question is this. Look at African countries that are divided, in this case of Israel and Palestine. Some countries support Palestine, like South Africa, very clearly, obviously because of history. South Africa was a country that was hit with apartheid. For many, many years, black people in South Africa suffered, lived in very poor condition, very hard condition. They were treated like animals. They were not considered. Many of them couldn't go and study properly, go to university and get the degrees that are necessary to develop a country. Many of them were subjected to oppression. Many were thrown in jail unjustly. Many were beaten. Many were treated like animals. And they understand very clearly what apartheid stands for. It's nothing nice. And they stand very strong with Palestine. Same as what Nelson Mandela said, South Africa cannot be free if Palestine is not free. And they're standing by that. Some other African countries are supporting Israel, like Kenya, where Ruto clearly was one of the first presidents to say, we support Israel. They don't ask the story. They don't ask who started. They don't ask who's right, who's wrong. And Congo and any other country, as a lot of countries support Israel. So there's a clear divide among African people. Now my question is this. If the United States of America and Israel can support each other like this, today, tomorrow, and always, why don't African countries support each other like that? Why can't African countries come together and hold each other strong in the times of difficulties? I don't understand that. I mean, look at the case of Gaddafi. They came to Gaddafi and destroyed his country completely. They finished him like an animal, and African nations were just looking. Nobody stood strong. Not even one person lifted his finger or say something, at least say something. Say, no, stop it. This is our continent. You cannot come into our continent and create mayhem and havoc. Gaddafi's gone a long time ago. Up until now, Libya still lives the consequences of those raids against Libya, those bombardments, those destruction. The country is in wreck. It's destroyed. Why didn't African people stand together for Gaddafi? After everything he has done, he's built the mosque in Uganda, one of the biggest mosques ever. He's constructed it with his own money. He paid some of other African countries' debt in World Bank. He was the first president to support the idea of having a satellite for Africans, a communication satellite, so that the price can come down, so that it can be more affordable for the African people. Where were the Africans when Gaddafi needed help? Nobody opened their mouth. Mali stood very strong against the French, trying to free themselves of colonialism and neo-colonialism. Who were the biggest enemies of Mali? It was the ECOWAS countries. 15 African nations against an African nation trying to free itself. What type of mentality is that? Where is the support for Africans? You are very quick to support Israel. You are very quick to support Palestine, and you are divided clearly between you. Why don't you support each other? While the United States clearly shows you they've sent an aircraft carrier all the way to the Mediterranean. I can't even speak my word properly. He sent an aircraft carrier, a war machine to the Mediterranean to go support Israel, saying whoever's going to dare try to do something against Israel is going to get bombarded. Why don't African people support each other? Burkina Faso trying to free itself. ECOWAS countries stood against them, calling them terrorist names and other names, trying to subject them to sufferings. They blockaded the borders, refused entry of economical transactions, hoping to make other African nations suffer. Niger tried to free itself from the French. The same ECOWAS country trying to get soldiers together to go and bombard them and destroy them because of one president, Mohamed Bazoum, that they supposedly want back in power. Why African people are this way? I don't understand. We hate each other. We don't tolerate one another. You want other people out of your country because supposedly they're taking your jobs and your wives and whatever that is. Who came up with that? In the meantime, you have no issues with foreigners, actual foreigners. No issue with Caucasian. No issue with the Europeans. You have no issues with nobody else. But you hate what looks just like you. You hate Bantus just like you. You hate people who don't sound like you. It's very sad. America says today, tomorrow, and always to Israel. So it doesn't matter whether who's right, who's wrong. There's no such thing as right and wrong in this world. Let me tell you something. There's no such thing as democracy. If whatever you call democracy doesn't fit their profile, it's not democracy to them. You can go fly a kite. That's what it is. What's happening with Israel and Palestine, it's not very different with what's happening with Russia and Ukraine. Okay, but the support is with Ukraine on that side. But on this side of the story, the support is with Israel. Why don't they apply the same things in Israel as they apply in Ukraine? They're not doing that because they have their own agenda. Why can't African people have their own agenda? Why African people have to sell each other for other people's interest? It's very sad. And this is not new. Since the time of our ancestors, since the time people started selling each other, chiefs selling their soldiers, their brave people to go work in foreign land because of greed, getting in return some salt and mirrors. It's saddening. Why does it hurt you when somebody from a different country come and marry somebody from your village or from your city or from your town or from your family? Why does it hurt your feelings? Okay? But when it's a Dutch guy or a French person that comes to your country, that's fine. It's okay because he's French or British. But when it's a guy from Senegal coming to your country, then you ask, what does he do for a living? Where does he come from? Who is his family? How do you know him? How are you sure he doesn't have another wife? But you don't ask the same question when it's a Dutch person or a Norwegian person. What is the self-hate for? It's very sad. USA said today, tomorrow, and always. And as long as African people will forever be separated, divided, we cannot go further. We cannot do anything positive. We will never be able to stand for our own right. It's very sad looking at South Africa supporting Palestine, looking at Kenya supporting Israel, looking at Congo and these other countries supporting other people, moved by own personal interest and greed. And that's very sad. Let me know how you feel about this, fellas. It's always a great pleasure to hear from you and your insights. It's not about me. Remember, me talking to you and explaining to you how things are. It's more about all of us contributing and growing together. God bless.